there are a lot of challenges to having both, for sure. What I find is the case of, are you a career entrepreneur or you're a serial entrepreneur? And I think that's really crucial when it comes to the kind of funding you have. But you guys can enlighten me. So do you want to, if you're bootstrapping, do you want to build a company that's going to last forever, Evernote 100-year company? Or are you raising money to start a company so you can exit quickly and then move on to the next phase? I mean, Nic, now you exited Motribe, and you said to me then, you know, it's great, I've enjoyed Motribe, but I want to go do something else. And then you started two things, actually. I think maybe for you, Nic Socks was one of those things you thought, this would be interesting, let's do it.
Yeah.
And then you're working with Forefront Africa now, but that's looking at mobile and dealing with clients and educating them more about mobile. Yeah. And now, Emma, you've got a business. Which started with Triggerfish, left Triggerfish, and you've been focused on mobile and Bozza for a while now. So, and I think, I mean, Nic has got a bit of a serial entrepreneur thing going for him a little bit here. We'll see how many more companies come out of it. And you seem to really focus on this long-term company.
It's such an interesting question because for me, it's in between Bozza was a company called Break Design, which is really focused around mobile technology, and we became the top 5 globally for Nokia, developing all our content and applications, which was my transition into technologies. That's how I did a jump. But I think again we've done the reverse, which is so lovely, is that I started off as a serial entrepreneur, so it was kind of, that's what I felt was in my blood. But this, for me, this project in terms of Bozza it feels like it's my career. It feels as though everything I've done in terms of serial entrepreneurship has brought me to this particular place. So for me, this is a lifelong lifetime until I'm done.
Okay. And do you feel that the fact that you got the right funders is going to help you get to, you know, building this company that will become your media empire, so to say?
I'm going to so quote you on that one day.
5 years later, media empire.
Michelle said it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about having the right funders who can walk that journey with you. It's absolutely crucial, so that it's not that thing of, I need to flip in a year.
Now, Nic, do you think with Nic Socks, that was the perfect business to bootstrap because it's a passion of yours, and it's something it's your business. It's not a business you share with someone else. I mean, well, maybe Jen, but it's your business.
Yeah, completely. Also, it's a real product. It's a tangible thing. It's very hard to bootstrap a service-based business because then you're hourly, and charging hourly is you only have 8 hours in a day or 12 or 15 or however many you can work. So a product, put up the website, do some SEO, do some marketing, and then see if it sells. And if it sells, you can fund your business. If it doesn't, you can move on to the next thing. So it was well timed for me. Also going out of Motribe, out of VC, out of partnerships and staff. This was refreshing. I built it, I design everything, I do everything myself except for actually make the socks. Everything is mine. So it was refreshing, but it's a fun, passionate side project. And I do just want to pick up on something you said about serial entrepreneur versus career. I think no one knows until they're there.
That's true.
So you don't
I agree completely.
So Emma might get $1 billion offer in a year. And you know, she might sell, and in 3 years it'll be over, and then you'll start another thing. So you never know until you're doing it right there and then. Because when we started Motribe, we thought it was a 20-year business. It just didn't end up that way. And I think that's what I'm addicted to. It's that uncertainty that you build something and then something else comes along, or something bigger or better or different or worse. So that's the part that I think my career is orientated towards, is adjusting to those changes of business, because it's rapid. Business is never just consistent. If you want that, I think Paul Graham called it the trap of salaries. If you want it, go get a salary, and then you can be trapped, and you can do that. That's not what we do, though. That's not what people like us do.
Well, that's actually quite interesting. So now, exiting a company, it's always been a fascinating thing for me about how people decide, okay, we're going to exit a company. And one of the crucial decisions always comes from if you have a VC and they get a great offer, they will put pressure to exit. So now, how do you deal with something like that? I mean, you've been there. Emma, I mean, it's a tricky situation to be in.
Yeah, having been there, I think the long and short of it is what Emma said already. You have to have the right VC going into the arrangement. If you have the wrong one, you're screwed. It's really that simple. They can pull funding, they can stop the next tranche, they can do a lot of stuff. Fortunately, I didn't have that kind of a VC. I had a great VC in 40i. But it does come down to the partnership, and it's something that I think entrepreneurs who are desperate for funding, often they make that mistake. They take whatever comes their way. So there's an African VC that's just launched that doesn't have the profiles of the founders of the firm on the website. I'm not going to go and approach you now because I don't know who I'm interviewing.
Yeah.
And the entrepreneur has to realize that you're interviewing the VC as much as they're interviewing you. We don't feel like that because there's not enough choice in Africa yet, but that's coming. So I don't know.
No, I agree with you. I don't think enough entrepreneurs do due diligence on their VC. You should.
You have that right. It's your business that they're buying into. Sure, it's their money, but money is not the most important thing in a business. It really isn't. It's one of them, but it's not the most important thing.
I agree with you. Which brings me to another thing. The relationships and introductions, and I feel that having a VC that has this kind of connection, really, it's more important to have the advice and the connection the VC brings to the table than actually to have their cash.
Yeah, I can completely talk into the heart of that. So, our relationship this last year with Omidyar it's gone beyond my expectations. Simply because it's not been about the cash. It's been about all the added values, particularly from a human capital perspective. They really work with you as an entrepreneur to shepherd you through big transitions of how you build out the company. The same team that you started with might not be the team that you go into the next phase with. How you deal with change management, how do you deal with the change in staff that you have to make. Because often, as an entrepreneur, you feel that you need to kind of look after the people that came with you, but often that's the beginning of the end. And so, kind of having a safe sounding board with your investors where it's like, I'm struggling a bit with this, what do you think? And they can completely jump in, add value. They've flown out from San Francisco to be with us, spend consolidated time, taken us over there. There's been an extensive network of not just people, but experience, and that's been hugely invaluable.
You do have to acknowledge that you're one of the few African entrepreneurs who can say that they've got funding from someone like that, who's even willing to come over.
Yeah.
Because
that's very true.
Yeah, I pitched to 30, 40, 50 VCs overseas, London, New York, Germany, San Fran, Texas, you name it. And the number one thing was, well, we can't be close to you, so we're not going to invest. And that is something that African entrepreneurs are hitting all the time.
That's very true.
So you've done extremely well, and you're very lucky to have that Omidyar network. And they get Africa, and they get the
I agree with you.
So, luck's got nothing to do with it. You're skilled and you've got the money for the right reason, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a lot of people don't have access to that.
I agree with you. Omidyar is doing great work in terms of kind of really understanding that they have to make the effort as well in Africa to show up.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And that's quite important.
Yeah.
And they're moving away from grants. Sorry, that's not true. They have grants and they've got investments.
Yeah.
And I think that balance has been absolutely crucial.
Absolutely.
So we fall very squarely into the investment arm. And for them, it's all about social impact and the long-term play. It's been invaluable. So it's not just about the money.
It is a key thing that a lot of European and US investors don't understand. That it's not about grants. It's not about just throwing money at the continent and going, oh, we've done our bit. It's about investing and building businesses that are sustainable and helping the entrepreneurs grow and build out networks. And I'm seeing it in Nigeria with the Roku TV. In Shahidi and their network is going into Kenya. There's a lot going on where investors are finally putting their feet on the ground and going, oh, this is what Nairobi looks like.
Yeah.
That's refreshing to see.
Yeah.
I think that's quite cool. It's like it needs to be the kind of time of investments, not just aid and grant and all of that.
Yeah. Completely.
Cool. All right, so can I just get from each of you, like 30 seconds, your kind of rule of thumb when it comes to funding?
You first.
30 seconds. No, you first.
Okay, my rule of thumb is, I recently read this on Seth Godin's blog. It's not a rule of thumb that I have realized I've done, but for every deal you do, know as much about that deal as the person you're signing the deal with.
Okay.
If you don't and you're in a weaker position, don't do it. Go and figure out what you're doing first, and then go back and look at the contract and the deal and everything in place. The major thing that entrepreneurs need to do is trust their gut. If you feel like the relationship isn't right, it probably isn't, and then in 5 years down the line, you're going to get screwed. So trust your gut, and that I think is the key thing for me. It's never guided me wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to echo that in terms of trusting your gut, but for me it's also added on to that, it's don't sell out too quickly. Be really sure about who you're getting into bed with. And I don't mean the investment or the portfolio manager, because they're a company, investment companies are companies just as we are, and they go through change just as we do, and we tend to forget that. We think that investors are kind of on the pedestal, but they also have change, and the people who were running with you may actually change out.
Yeah.
So it's not just about the manager, it's about what the company value is. What is the value of that investment company that you are going to walk a journey with, and that alignment of values can't be underestimated.
All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. It's been very insightful. I'm Mich Atagana. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.